I will be aggressive like I always am.
I want to race against the best athletes I can find.
It's just the pressure's going to be colossal for me.
My goal is to win.
I never really got into sports to make money. I never got into sports for gold or any of that kind of stuff. I got into sports because I wanted to be a world champion.
This is the biggest event I've probably ever competed at so far in my life.
It's exciting to be racing in a world championship race. It's also, this is my second, and we raced together in Leipzig, and I still attended the race last year even though I didn't run in it. It's good to be back in it.
I'm looking forward to the opening ceremony. It was really, really cool last year, so I'm excited to see what it's going to be like this year in a different country.
Manchester, England was where the stage was set for the pinnacle event of the 2023 Hyrox season, the World Championships. After an historic year for the sport, the best Hyrox athletes were in a city that has embraced this new sport since its inception.
Go!
In 2023, almost 90,000 people have taken part in Hyrox events held across 14 different countries. Watching the world's elite 15 striving for glory and going head-to-head with each other is a spectacle enough, but each event also caters for age groupers, and with the very best qualifying for Manchester, the opening ceremony acted as the perfect way to welcome them all.
To be here, I just love the energy when you walk into a Hyrox event, and like you can feel it. It's unlike any other race experience out there. I mean, really the only events, I've been racing my whole life, really the only events that compare to like the tangible energy of a really big Hyrox event is like the New York Marathon or something like that, a major that's thousands of people sending their vibes and their energy to you. And like I think every Hyrox race has its kind of energy and magic to it, but then when you get to these big ones, it really kicks up a notch. And so for people who have never been to one of the big events, it's an opportunity to feel something really special before, during, and after that event.
It feels really cool, and it really brings me back to some really just amazing memories I had as a collegiate athlete, but this is kind of even a different scale. We were, competing against just other US athletes all the time. So this is pretty cool, and just the connections and the community itself all across the world is pretty amazing. It feels great to be one of the favorites coming in as an American, and having so many, more than half the field of women are Americans. So, it feels like we're kind of like a little team, and that's pretty cool too.
Like Hyrox and all these people, this is like become my community. I think it's so cool that, so when I flew in here, I ended up staying with a guy who lives like right outside of Manchester. The way that I met him was in a hotel gym in Las Vegas last year. That's the only way I would have met him, was through the sport. So what I really love is when we all kind of get together. It's so cool to have like all of our lives intermingled. We're all dispersed across not just the country, but the world. you get to see these people again. And, you know, outside of that, we have social media and everything. So, like, I've got to keep up with, like, David and as his kids grown up. And now, like, he's watching my son grow up. And we traded advice. Like, he sent me some books and we've all met this through the sport. So my favorite thing is outside of the racing, that's a really intense hour. And then maybe you've got a little warm-up period where you're getting hyped up and then a little bit after. But after that, you're just spending time with folks that have similar interests and are just awesome human beings.
At the World Championships, the spotlight was firmly on the elites. They had given their all throughout the year in order to have a chance to compete in the race of the races. To be the best, you need to beat the best, and both defending champions were in Manchester to ensure that the rest of the field needed to dethrone them if they wanted to win.
And I remembered that, and I remembered why and what made me so inspired from athletics from the beginning was to be a champion. So the one thing I know and love most at this point in my life in sports is Hyrox. And even though I had kind of conquered that chapter and left that chapter behind me, I knew there was still something I had left on the table, and you know, I wanted to come back and kind of basically break the foundation of the sport and rebuild it up to something that people can aspire to for decades from here. And winning Las Vegas is kind of a culmination of probably a decade's worth of work and some good timing and some good workouts. You know, the performance was fantastic. The sport is at the highest version of itself. And to be able to beat people at that level platform in that much of a time domain, it was pretty impressive. And I was very excited, and I thought to myself, I was like, I'm good. I can say goodbye. But I knew that there was something else left, so I had to come back and give it a little bit more.
What happened last year affects me zero. I came in actually seated at the exact same place that I am this year, seated 12th. I know that, I guess I'm excited. I kind of have the same feelings as last year. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to compete against the best in the world. I know that all I can give is my best, and that's the plan for tonight, and it's kind of always the plan, and that doesn't change. I don't even feel a lot of pressure from much of anybody because my performances this year haven't been anything crazy spectacular. So yeah, no pressure, just here to see what I can do.
I think there's 15 athletes that can win the World Championships. I mean, they've earned their spot in the race. That's how many, you know, it's me and 14 others. I think everyone who's in that race should feel like they have a shot. Obviously, I think some athletes might have to overperform to do something like that, but I think everyone has a shot. But I think realistically, there's probably six guys who have a really good opportunity here to bump Hunter off of his throne, and I definitely include myself in that category.
In all honesty, the only person that can beat me is myself. I've recognized after competing in the sport for so many years that sometimes I overtrain, sometimes I undertrain, but if I hit my spot, I'm unbeatable. And you know, there's a bunch of guys out there that are incredibly impressive, but as I said, I didn't come back here to compete, I came back here to dominate. So there's no names on the list.
How many girls in the grid can win the race?
2.
Only 2?
Yeah.
Who else?
Lauren Weeks. You know, I had a really hard race in Europe where it did not go my way, but I'm a fighter and I don't fly all the way over here to not podium, you know? So I know what kind of racer I am, and I know how gritty I can be.
I think like there's obviously a heavy favorite, Megan, but I think there's also somebody being very overlooked, Vivian. I don't think there's a lot of chatter about her, and I anticipate her doing very well this year, and I also anticipate her growing in the sport for years to come. So watch out.
The Americans conquered both world crowns last year, so came into this event as favourites. However, the Europeans were looking for revenge. Hoping for a good result was local athlete Michael Sandbach, who was looking to impress in front of his friends and family.
Yeah, I'm trying not to think about it because I've never had that much support in any sporting arena in my life. So if I start really thinking about it, then it's going to overwhelm me. So I'm trying my hardest just to think of it as another race, really. But it clearly isn't another race. But I'm trying my best just to, not think too much about that.
There's this thing between the Americans and the Europeans, and the Americans think they're a lot better than the Europeans are. And I think they have very good athletes, but their depth in the field is in Europe. Like there is better quantity of athletes in Europe compared to the US. So I think they just expect to come over and steamroll it, but I don't think it's going to happen. I can see one American in the top three in the men's race, not three. It's not going to happen.
Most of the guys from Europe, they've raced each other so many times, they understand, like, they don't worry when 5 guys go out really fast or do this or do that. Like, we had to learn that as we came over, and unfortunately we had to learn that during big moments. And now we have a much deeper understanding. It's going to be helpful in the grand scheme of the race.
No matter the nationality, no matter the body, no matter the background, Hyrox is open to everyone, and there are so many motivating stories within the sport. Let's leave the World Championships aside and learn more about Rick, who started participating in Hyrox events this year.
Ik heb eigenlijk 3 dingen. Ik heb een onderbeenamputatie. Ik heb een spier uit mijn rug die geamputeerd is en ik ben blind aan 1 oog. Maar voor de trainen zeg maar, is de onderbeenamputatie het lastigst. En ik loop dus hard met een bleed. En dat gaat op zich wel goed. Ik vind het leuk om uitgedaagd te worden en om te kijken wat je wel kan doen, zeg maar, in plaats van wat je niet kan. Er is natuurlijk heel veel wat je niet kan, maar eigenlijk, als je denkt dat je het niet kan, dan lukt het ook niet. Dus, maar als je denkt dat het wel kan, dan lukt het vaak wel. En dat is wel iets wat me op de been houdt, zeg maar. Weet je, never give up. Weet je, je komt altijd wel weer verder, je komt er altijd wel weer bovenop. Het is, karakter, trainen, doorgaan. Ja, niet stoppen, weet je, niet opgeven. Opgeven is geen optie.
Dat zou je dus ook de mensen willen meegeven, zeg maar?
Ja, als het kan, hè, want het geldt niet voor iedereen. Want sommige mensen, dat gaat gewoon echt niet meer. Maar zolang het kan, blijf doorgaan en blijf positief, want daar kom je verder mee. En ik vind het ook leuk om dit soort challenges te doen, hè, want ik heb het nog nooit gedaan, het is een uitdaging. En als je het ziet, van tevoren ziet, denk je van, oh, het is best pittig. Maar we zijn er, we hebben gefinished en dat is het.
Let's get back to the competition. At the elite end of Hyrox, both an athlete's mental and physical strength is tested. Races can come down to tactical decisions and strategies can differ from athlete to athlete. Even though the goal and the functional workouts are the same, each individual chooses their own way of approaching the race.
I can't base my race off of other people's, because I know like at points of the race when I feel good and when I don't. So I try and go based off of, okay, at this station I want to feel this way, and by this station, hopefully I'm still feeling like a certain percentage of like my output. And it's kind of, I know if I get to like the row and I'm crushed, I'm like, ah, crap, went out too hard.
Yeah, I don't like chasing people really. Like the initial sort of run and ski and everything, it's anyone's, but I just drive off getting out hard and getting a bit of a gap, and then that's where I go. If I'm not in a certain position, and say after the sleds or something, or I do not like to then chase. I don't know, something I just don't.
I mean, my plan is to really just run my own race. I think the only times that I have underperformed is when I get caught up in what someone else is doing. You really have to just trust in your fitness and your ability, because everyone has different parts of the race that they want to maybe capitalize on. And for me, I have found through failure that my best way to race Hyrox is to be a little more conservative in the beginning. I'm gonna try to block out literally like all of the competitors and just run my own race.
The packed 5,000 strong crowd became more enthusiastic as the action got underway. In the women's race, Lauren Weeks and Megan Jacoby showcased their amazing skill set as they set the pace from the start. Weeks secured the early lead, but her compatriot fought hard in the middle section of the race, coming off the rower at the same time. Into the second half of the women's race, and rookie Belle McFarlane started to gain some ground after recording the fastest sandbag lunges. In the fight for top spot, Weeks opened up a 30-second gap as she entered the final wall ball station ahead of her fellow American. Eventually, it was Lauren Weeks who proved to be the strongest as she stormed to victory, breaking the 60-minute barrier in 59.51. She won at 2 stations and was second in 4. Megan Jacoby followed her in, finishing in 1 hour and 23 seconds, while Belle McFarlane kept up the pace until the end and rounded off the podium, making it an American clean sweep.
I shouldn't have been able to do that. So.
But you did.
And I don't know how. Well, Meg is the better athlete. Like, I'm going to say that straightforward. She's 100% the better athlete. It just happened to work in my favor today. But she deserved the win. Absolutely.
Lauren's an amazing competitor. I knew we would be likely pushing each other, and it would probably come down to her and I if we were both having our, a good day. Top 4 were American women. I just feel like we're all teammates. So, in a sense, so I'm super, super proud. This is my first season. I'm 8 months into this career. So to come in second to a veteran like Lauren Weeks is, it feels like a win for me.
With their race over, the elite women had the chance to enjoy the action in the men's race. There was drama even before they started, when in a last-minute change, James Kelly replaced Tim Wench.
Due to the fact that I only had 20 minutes, I remember going to the bathroom when I did find out and just telling myself that I have nothing to lose, everything to gain. Go out there and play. I use the word play to my athletes a lot because I remember as a child getting so excited for playtime and being able to, go to the playground and play, and that's all you cared about as a child. And now that we're adults and growing up, Hyrox and racing to me is my playtime. And lo and behold, I was just able to play a little bit earlier last night.
The reigning world champion, Hunter McIntyre, started aggressively, running 3:30, 3:45 pace for the first 4 laps, which helped him open up a significant lead, which at one point reached over 2 minutes. Alexander Ronsovitz tried to stay close to the champion, but his fatigue was real. It quickly became obvious that McIntyre had travelled to Manchester with one goal in mind: to defend his World Championship title. He remarkably won the first 5 workouts, including a blistering sled push and burpees. Even when he seemed to be taking his foot off the gas in the second half of the race, his rivals could barely close the gap. McIntyre won the race and was crowned world champion, leaving behind Alexander Ronsovitz in second, having won the wall ball station. The battle for third was intense, with Ryan Kent and Tobias Lautvine recording identical scores. The photo finish saw Lautvine edge his American counterpart for the final podium spot.
I think, honestly, a lot of people didn't think I could come back and take it, but it's been mine the whole time. I'm not bragging, I'm just telling the damn truth. It feels good to be back, and the crown fits quite nicely on top of my head. I think, honestly, this is probably my best performance. I was close to world record, but I started cramping near the end, and I accepted the fact that, the win's good enough for me today, but I keep on refining my process. And being able to compete against athletes at this caliber, showing up at even better this level, it was hard and it was fantastic every step of the way.
It went almost like expected. I was expecting Hunter going out very fast. My race strategy was to keep up with him, try to keep up with him at least until sled pull, burpees. Stay close to him, make him think, make him struggle, but he went out really hard, way too hard. Even for me, and I had to let him go and just keep or fight for that podium place with the other guys.
Yeah, it's unbelievable for me. I'm speechless. It was a dream for me after 2021 World Champion of Fitness. Then last year, COVID cracked me, burned me, bring me on the floor. I was so ill. I fight 1 year for this dream. It's for my 4 children. It's for my family. Thank you, Hyrox. I love this sport.
What a truly incredible day of racing it was. The top Hyrox athletes in one venue fighting for the most prestigious title. But the event in Manchester didn't end there. The following day, it was time for the age groupers to hit the stage, much to the anticipation of the spectators.
Things don't always work out the way we want them to, and you don't really have a lot of control over any of that, but what you can control is your reaction to the day and what you take away from the day, and I want everybody to take away it's a really cool experience, regardless of whether you have your best to give or don't, whether you have your best day or not. It's still a really neat experience to have made it here, to get to race, and to hopefully finish the race, regardless of what your time is, how it feels like. It's still pretty cool.
Hyrox has established a passionate fan base in the UK, and this event will be remembered as one of the best ever in the sport's history. The second day saw each and every participant challenge themselves. There was no better way for this event to be concluded than with a vibrant closing ceremony that saw the winners awarded with their prizes and everyone enjoy the buzz of having completed this event. Hyrox's growth is evident and the best is yet to come. The 2023 season reached its peak in Manchester and the British event delivered, creating a unique atmosphere that will be talked about in years to come.